Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful Thursday. It's Thursday, right? Yeah, it's Thursday. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday morning, afternoon, depending on where you are. But we are now live for today's presentation. If you are having trouble with hearing, please make sure your speakers are unmuted. There is no telephone dial-in for this event. I am your hostess today, Leah Hartman. I'm your principal product consultant under the Accountant Sales Organization. I've actually been with Intuit for 11 years. I got to change that. It's been a long time. Currently residing in my hometown, Tucson, Arizona. It's starting to get hot. So got that air conditioning blowing like crazy. Enough about me though. Navigating the webinar platform for today. If you have questions, please feel free, as some of you have already jumped in, access the Q&A, the handouts, and more through your control panel at the bottom of your screen. Handouts can also be found at this link provided, www.intuit.me/ITK handout-May 23. For the agenda today, obviously, we're going to welcome you folks in. Happy back from tax season. Hopefully everyone had a decent month last month, but we're back at it, ready to roll. We're going to talk a little bit about some CPE credit eligibility information, review learning objectives. Today's topics, I'm excited. Got some great guests on today that are going to discuss some cool things with you guys. And then we're going to finalize it with the accountant resources, and then we'll close you out. So this is a 60-minute webinar for today. Just as another friendly reminder, if you have questions and feedback, please use the Q&A section of Zoom, not chat. Chat will not be monitored if you can see it, but it shouldn't be on. Only submit questions that are related to today's content. We would love to be able to get to everybody today. There's a lot of you and just a few of us. So if you have technical questions, please contact our support instead. If you're running into issues, it's not working the way that it's supposed to, or you're getting an error, there's a number down here at the bottom, 888-333-3451. We will do our very best to address all of your questions for today, but again, we may not be able to get to all of them, but we'll do our very best. And questions that are not answered during today's webinar will be in the FAQ. So again, if you're running into technical difficulties with our Intuit QuickBooks products, please contact our tech support team. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoy today's session. Just another friendly reminder, if you're new here, CPE process, in order to receive 1 CPE credit, you must be present for a minimum of 50 minutes to get that 1 credit. Please answer all polling questions. I believe there's only 3 today. If all or part of those requirements are met, your CPE will be emailed within 2 weeks following the close of the webinar today. It will be sent to the email address that you registered with, and it's going to be coming from accountant_training@intuit.com. So make sure that is a part of your approved contacts list in your email service provider. For today's CPE learning objectives, we're going to be learning all about the ProAdvisor recertification training. So we'll have Syed on to talk about a little bit about that. And then I've got some find out more about the QuickBooks Online app. There's a Windows application that we'll be talking a little bit about today. And then get updates on QuickBooks Checking, which is one of our products with QuickBooks Online. Oh, and for those that are having issues, we've got folks in the background that are answering your guys' questions about the handout. So have no fear, we'll get to you. But the handout is www.intuit.me/ITK handout-May 23. All right, so before I switch it over to our guests, I have some May news and highlights that I want to present to you guys. So first things first, we do have a QuickBooks virtual conference that is coming up June 13th through the 15th of this year. Involves product training, certification, and recertification boot camp. So if you're looking to get certified or recertified as QuickBooks Online or a QuickBooks Online Advanced Pro Advisor, please feel free to join us for our 3-day virtual training that's led by our QuickBooks Online Advanced Certified Pro Advisors to prepare you for that exam. I've been in those sessions before, helped answer questions in those, very informative, Really super helpful, especially if you're just getting started or you're just looking to freshen up and get that recert. As far as the CPE goes, it's free, but you could get up to 12 CPE if you just join the QBO stuff. If you're looking for the QBO Advanced, you could get up to 14.5 CPE credits. So if you need those credits, feel free to join. They are free. We've also got some other webinars that I want to just friendly reminder. We talked about this a few months ago, I think, but we're in the last 4 stretch of the webinars in this 8-part series that's hosted with Woodard and Intuit. So we're bringing accountants and bookkeepers a provocative and challenging webinar series with rich tips and strategies to drive efficiencies. So there's 4 webinars left if you're interested. Once the link is in your hands and you're able to access our slides, you'll be able to register for that webinar through this slide deck. And then we have our webinar, Serve Your Clients and Your Business with the QuickBooks Online Ecosystem. So if you're an accountant and you work with larger small businesses, so think of it as a business with 10 or more employees, if you're interested, serve your clients and grow your accounting practice with the QuickBooks Online Ecosystem. So there's 2 sessions. I think they're the same session, but you can pick one, June 6th or June 20th at 11 a.m. Pacific. For a webinar with Heather and Liz from the Appy Hour. It's clever. To hear about how you can unlock the speed and power of automation to help your clients thrive while you drive more business towards advisory services. Lots of content that they will be covering, such as standardizing systems with QBO, the value of a robust open API platform ecosystem, serving each client's industries, businesses, departments with QBO, as well as the QuickBooks Online Advanced for more complex needs. So if you are interested, please register for that. Again, June 6th or June 20th for those webinars. And just a few more highlights before I move it to our presenter. So bear with me, guys. But we are talking about some pretty exciting stuff here if you're interested in some competitive switching. So this is new. If you haven't heard, you can migrate your data from Xero to QuickBooks Online Advanced. If you're interested in how to do that, Data Switcher, which is our migration partner, is now enabling migrations over from our competitive software to QBO Advanced. You can now migrate data over from Sage 50, which we've been working on, and Xero to Advanced on Data Switcher for free. If you're interested in doing that, we're enabling migrations from FreshBooks Next. So if you guys are familiar with that product, so it looks like it's pretty simple. If you guys are wanting more information on how to migrate, please look at this slide here for more information. That's pretty cool. I remember when we couldn't do that, so that's exciting. And then we have a limited time accountants only offer. Through July 31st, when you purchase QuickBooks Online in a bundles of 5, you will receive over 60% off for 2 years of those subscriptions. And you can actually mix and match across the board with the following bundles: 5 for $100 on QuickBooks Online Essentials, 5 for $150 for Plus, and then 5 for $350 on Advanced. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, please contact the phone number that's on this slide, 888-241-3279. I think that's it. I think that's all of the updates that I have for you guys. Yes, that is all that I have for you guys today on updates and highlights. So I'm actually going to be bringing Syed on to talk about the Pro Advisor recertification. So Syed, are you there?
I am. Hey, Leah, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Long time no see.
Great. Great to see you. I am going to share my screen. I hope everyone is doing well. Thanks for joining us today. I'm super excited to be here on behalf of our Pro Advisor team to talk about recertification and everything everyone should know about recertification. As I mentioned, my name is Syed Ali. I am a senior offering manager on our Pro Advisor program, launching our program across different regions and also maintaining it here in the US. So I've been with Intuit for a few years now, for about 14 years, and excited to be here with everyone today. So let's start with a quick polling question, if that's okay. I just wanted to gauge the audience to see where you are within your recertification journey. And if the answer is no, you don't know, that's fine. And we'll talk about that. So the question I wanted to ask in the poll is, have you started the ProAdvisor QuickBooks Online recertification exam? And go ahead and select whichever response here kind of fits your situation and where you are. And I like starting with this question because it helps me kind of understand and gauge, where the audience is and where we might be able to provide more assistance and more help in this webinar, and where I can focus my time.
I don't know if it matters, but I am the overachiever. I already finished my recertification and thank goodness I passed.
That's awesome. Good to hear.
Yeah, so hopefully we're in the same boat with everyone else.
Yeah. Well, the good news is, so we do, and I'll talk about this. We have a raffle going on. So if folks get recertified by May 31st, they're actually entered into a raffle to be able to win a $5,000 Airbnb gift card. So,
Oh,
but we want to make sure our amazing attendees are able to get that recertification done by May 31st to qualify for that. So, but I'll share
yeah.
some more details about that.
Awesome. We're going to be closing the poll here shortly, guys. So if you haven't gotten your answer in, make sure you do before we close that out, if you would like that CPE. And then we'll share the results here in just a second. Looks like we're kind of even across the board, which isn't
Wow.
bad at all.
Yeah. We got a good mix. Seems like, yeah, a lot of 20%. So looks like a lot of folks haven't started it yet, which is completely fine. We'll talk about the deadline and the actions you have to take to get recertified. Some folks are not sure if they have to get recertified. So I'll show you guys where you could check to see if you qualify for recertification or not. Awesome. Well, let's start with what recertification is and why we have it. So what we heard from our amazing community, ProAdvisor community, is that they want our help to make sure that they're being informed about the latest product updates, what changes are happening, and most importantly, for us to help them be confident in front of their clients and to make sure that they could carry that badge of being certified with confidence and with pride. So in order to make sure that we're helping do our part to make that happen, is we launched the recertification program. So the recertification program was launched a few years ago. And what that is really if someone is certified in either QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Online's Advanced, they have to come back on a yearly basis and get recertified. And the recertified exam is a shorter version of the full exam that focuses only on what's new in the product, right? So again, it could be accessed by anyone that's certified. It has to come back and get recertified. And I'll show you guys where you can find that. It's available between April 25th until the end of June, and it closes off at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. And the exam could be found within the ProAdvisor tab within the training portal. And I'll be doing a demo. So if you're not keeping up, don't worry about it. I'll show you guys where to find it. And lastly, there's a link here that we have, and this link will be available in the handouts as well, to the Firm of the Future blog, which talks about the recertification, how you know if you qualify for it, and the steps you have to take to get recertified. There's also details there about the raffle that I mentioned, which is if you qualify for recertification and you get recertified by the end of this month, by the end of May, which is May 31st, you will be entered into a raffle to win a $5,000 Airbnb gift card, which I think is amazing, especially with the summer around the corner. It could be used in a great way to get away with yourself and those you love. So let's kind of jump into the demo, and I want to show you guys where you can find the recertification and how you could access it. So I'm going to log into, so I'm actually already logged into my QBOA account, so my QuickBooks Online account. And if I hover over the ProAdvisor tab, you see a tab called Training. And when I click on that, I'm taken to this page here, which is our ProAdvisor training portal. So the first thing that I see as a user right now is I see that it's time for me to re-up my certification. So if you log in, so the easiest way to tell if you haven't seen an email or if you think maybe your email got stuck in spam if you log into QuickBooks Online Accountant, and if you go to the training tab, and you see this call to action, which is re-up your certification. So keep your certification status current and recertify by June 30th. If you see this box, that means you qualify for and you have to complete your recertification by June 30th. And if you don't do that, then you will lose your certification status and all the benefits that come along with that, which is, the access to your badge, your the certification badge, which is in your Finder Pro profile, etc. So you want to make sure that you come here and get recertified before the end of June. Now, there's a couple of resources that we have to help you along your recertification journey, and let me point those out really quick here. So the first is when you go to your training library. So there's two ways you can access that. One is you can either get started or click on the training library directly. And it will take you to the training library, which calls out the new training that you have to complete to get recertified. And please mind my Wi-Fi connection here might be a little bit slow, but it should open up, and in the bottom left here, you'll see a box that calls out the training for what's new in QuickBooks Online, which is the recertification training that you have to complete. I'm just going to refresh my screen here really quick to make sure I can get that to open. Weird. So it's not opening for me right now. It might be my Wi-Fi. Apologies for that. But you will see a recertification box. So the first box under your training library is dedicated to the training that you have to complete for your recertification. So once you get that, it's really, so there's two paths here. You're either someone that's certified in QuickBooks Online Core or QuickBooks Online Advanced, right? So when you come here, you'll see that specific training that's required for you to complete, for you to satisfy and be ready to get your recertification done. Okay, so that's step number one. Once you're ready, once you get that training out of the way, or like Leah mentioned, we have a virtual conference coming up that's focused on training to get you certified. And if you're also looking to get recertified, we have training for that during that virtual conference as well. But if you're someone that wants to go on your own pace and take some of our self-paced training, you can log into your training portal, and that first box will be there for you, where you can access your recertification training. Now, once you finish your training, if you go on the certification hub, and I'm hoping this works for me here, and if it doesn't, I have some demos, I got some screenshots. Actually, this opened just fine. So once you're here on your certification hub, as you can see for me, it's called out up top, QuickBooks Online Recertification, and there's a button here to either start or resume your exam, right? And once you access the exam, which is appropriate for you, which is either for QuickBooks Online Core or QuickBooks Online Advanced Recertification, you will see the details that you have to complete for that specific exam. So in my case, if I click on Resume Exam, I will see the exam opening up, which will then dictate what questions I have to complete to get my recertification done, okay? And there you go. So for the core exam, there's only one section, 16 minutes, 16 questions only. Should take you no more than 40 minutes to get that recertification done. And if you qualify for the advanced exam, the advanced recertification, you only have to take the advanced, and that will qualify you to get your recertification for both the online core and the advanced as well. So you'll only have to take that one specific advanced recertification, which is around the same amount of questions as well. All right. A great resource for everyone to go to take a look at the details and the questions, and maybe a FAQ if you don't really have all the answers that you might need, is that blog article that I talked about in Firmer of the Future, which will be part of the handouts that you receive. In this link here, you will see all the details that you need to know about recertification, along with some details about the $5,000 Airbnb voucher. You could qualify for the raffle, the sweepstakes, if you get your exam completed by May 31st. And we have a set of questions here as well, FAQs that you might have. So really net, the key takeaways is number one, if you qualify for recertification, log into the training portal to access the training and the exam. Number two, if you're not sure if you qualify for recertification, either look through your email to see if you received that email about your recertification. If you're still not clear or if you can't find that email, please still go ahead and log into QuickBooks Online Accountant. Make your way to the training portal like I showed you. And if you see that call to action to re-up your certification, that's the indication that you are someone that qualifies for and has to complete your recertification by the end of June. All right. So I'm hoping between the self-paced training that we have here, our webinars, the virtual conference, and then the actual exam, we're all able to get that recertification done by end of June. All right. So I'm going to pause there, see if you guys have any questions for me or for anyone on chat. I did see some questions kind of come through earlier, so I'm going to kind of just jump into those really quick. And Leah, you let me know how much time I have for this, but I'll get through a couple of the big ones that I was seeing. One was, where do I find out or where do I go to find the training? And if I need to get recertified. So like I mentioned, easiest way to do it is log into QuickBooks Online Accountant, go to that training portal for training. And there you'll see both the exams for recertification, but also the training that you have to complete. Another question that I kind of saw a theme was, if I have a personal account and then I have a business account and I have certifications in both, what's my call to action? What do I have to do? Well, ideally, we would love you to kind of consolidate those into one account. The best way to do that is to reach out to someone in our customer support group, because they have to actually merge your training and your certification history. And the best way to do that is to have someone on the phone with you to make sure that your training history is being merged to the right account. So you don't necessarily have to get recertified in each of those accounts, but at least one. But then please follow that up by calling someone in support to get those accounts merged. How do you register for training? Again, the training portal is the best way to go. So if you go there, you'll actually find not just your self-paced training listed there, but you'll also find the links for the webinars and virtual conferences as well. So really, whatever is the best way for you to find training and to get trained, those will be listed there. And then you can go ahead and register for the one that's right for you. All right. I'm going to stick around in the chat and answer any other questions you have. We also have some other folks behind the scenes answering questions. So I appreciate everyone's time. Hopefully this helps us move that poll question from haven't started right now to hopefully 100% recertified by the end of June. And then if you all want to be part of that raffle and maybe qualify for that sweepstake, try getting that done by end of May.
Yes, thank you so much, Syed. We really appreciate it. Just to make sure everyone's on the same page, we also wanted to just confirm with you, we get a lot of the question, what happens if I don't pass with the first 3 attempts on the recertification? So can you just touch on that really quick?
Great question, and thanks for bringing that up. I missed that. So if you don't pass in your first 3 attempts, there's a window that you have to, it's a grace period where you have to go back and just kind of review the material. I believe that's a 10 to 15 day grace period now, which is a time for you to really just get back in, take that training material again, and then come back and take the recertification exam again, right? So we're really hoping that you have the resources there to help you get recertified. But if you find yourself using all your attempts, you'll have to wait till that window closes and then come back and get recertified. So really kind of keep that in mind as you approach the June 30th deadline. You don't want to wait to the last minute to get recertified, because you want to make sure you're giving yourself enough time. If you have to use more than those 3 attempts and you need a grace period to come back and study, you're able to do that and then can access the exam again before the deadline. Because once June 30th kind of comes and passes, the only way to get your status back up is to take the full exam. Yeah. And you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you're taking advantage of, it's only one section, 16 questions. You want to make sure you're doing that besides taking the full exam.
Research's definitely going to be easier than the full-blown exam. Absolutely. For sure. Absolutely. There's also some folks asking, and I'm assuming that this is just preference, but some folks are asking, well, can I skip the training and just go and take the exam itself? Is that something that you can do? Does that still put them in the raffle? And what are your recommendations for that type of question? Yeah, we've got some pro advisors who've been through this before. So yeah, I think if you feel confident in knowing what's new in their product, maybe you've been attending in the Know webinars and you're kind of up to
up to par with what's going on, I would say, yeah, by all means, go ahead and go straight to that exam. And you know, you have 3 attempts, right? So if you want to take that first attempt to see if you know what it takes to get it, you know, finished, by all means, you could do that. And we have a lot of folks that try that, or a lot of folks might take a webinar, you know, attend a VCon and kind of jump straight into the exam. So by all means, you could definitely do that without taking some training. I do feel that if this is the first time you're doing it, or maybe you haven't reviewed the material in a long time, it's always great to start with that training, because it's super engaging. We're trying to get better at creating it to be hands-on. So I would definitely recommend getting into that training, feeling confident about it, and then taking that exam. But yes, that May 31st deadline to be part of that sweepstakes is coming up. But we have some great on-demand, you know, training available, so you can kind of go through that really quick to see what you do need to refreshen up on and get straight to the exam.
Yes, 100%. And I was one of those people. I just kind of took the exam to see what I knew and what I didn't know, and it worked out. But obviously, you're going to have to make that decision for yourself, right? If you learn by trial by fire, or if you really, you know, should sit and look at the content. And just for those that are continuing to ask for clarifying questions around, do I need to recertify? If you know the time frame that you certified, if it was on or before November 1st of 2022, you will need to recertify. If you took the big full-blown certification after that, then you will not be asked to do that. And is that right?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And you get it. Yeah. So that's the easiest way to remember it. So one, if you took the full exam before November 1st, then you got to come back and take the recertification. Or even if you took the recertification last year, you have to come back and get recertified right now. If you didn't see the email, hey, it might be stuck somewhere, maybe in spam or your junk box, but that's fine. Log into QuickBooks Online Accountant, and if you see that recertification button there, then you have to get recertified.
And for those that are asking about the links and stuff, if you downloaded today's handouts, you'll have access to the Firm of the Future stuff, the boot camp that I mentioned earlier, the virtual conference, and all that good stuff will be in the links on the handout. So if you're having any questions on how to get that information, you should be able to get it through there. So.
Yeah, there's some questions about the Airbnb survey. Yes, if you already got recertified, your name will be part of that raffle. So don't worry about that. We get a list of everyone that gets recertified by May 31st, and yes, you'll be part of that.
You're in. You're in. You're good to go. Nothing you'll need to do past just making sure you pass that exam before. You got 6 days, guys.
Yep.
Make sure you get it in. So I think that is all we have on the ProAdvisor research. If you have an opportunity to hang out in the background and answer some more questions that might come through, we really appreciate it. But thank you so much. It was good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
I hope you have a great rest of your week.
I appreciate you as well.
Bye.
Thanks.
Awesome. So I'm going to have my lovely friend Jason join me next, and we're going to talk about the QuickBooks Online Windows application. So Jason, whenever you're ready, please feel free to introduce yourself and show us what you got.
Will do. Thank you very much. So you're right. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the QuickBooks Online desktop app. Essentially, this is a different way for you to access QuickBooks Online besides just navigating to QuickBooks Online through your browser. You can actually install a program on your computer, and that way you can access all of your company's details directly from that without having to open up an internet browser. There are some advantages to using this, which we're going to go over. But first, I want to introduce myself very briefly. My name is Jason Ruvault. I'm the Director of Product Development at Real World Training, also known as QuickBooksTraining.com. But you might recognize maybe my voice from some of the training videos that are in the QuickBooks YouTube channel. I write and do the voiceovers for a lot of those videos. So if you're familiar with those, I'm Jason from the QuickBooks team. That's how I introduce myself in all those videos. And I'm in Dallas, Texas. So I think we have a poll for this segment, which is a pretty straightforward poll. Have you downloaded the QuickBooks Online desktop app? We've got 3 answers. Yes, pretty straightforward. Yes, you have. Not yet. I'm remaining hopeful that everybody here will download it and install it by the end of the webinar or shortly afterwards. So I don't have just like a straight no in there. And then 3, we've got waiting for the Mac version, because like you said, We've been talking about this is something you can install on a PC. So there might be some people who are using Macs who haven't installed it yet. And yeah, just waiting for some answers there.
I almost feel like there could have been a fourth one as a what Windows app.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like it's kind of sneakily, added in there, but we'll definitely talk about that. But if you've been around into it for a while, you'll know we had an app, we got rid of it, and then it came back. So some cool stuff has changed since then. So make sure you guys get your questions in before we close out, and we'll share with you guys. So it looks like we got a big chunk of folks who haven't downloaded it yet, but maybe you can change their mind, Jason.
Yeah, exactly. And also, in fact, that third answer on there, waiting for the Mac version, is a bit of a trick answer, because in fact, there is a Mac version. It's just a little bit hard to get a hold of because it's not something that's linked directly in QuickBooks. So for those of you who answered that, I have a link for you to download the Mac version. So we can even remove that as a roadblock for you. So but that's something new that just came out. So it's definitely understandable you wouldn't have heard of it. So let's talk about the app, what we heard from people, what we did, and the reason that it exists. So what we heard was that a lot of people who use Pro, Premier, Enterprise wanted to move to QBO or were curious, but the transition felt overwhelming because the interface is very different and they'd be accessing it through an internet browser, which, people are reticent to do. They like having something installed on their computer. It's a little bit easier for them to access. They also potentially work with multiple clients. So, in Pro, Premier, and Enterprise, it's very easy to switch back and forth between different companies. You just go through the file menu and you can open up a different company. With QBO, it's a little bit tougher because you have to log out of your company and you have to switch around. We wanted to make that a little bit easier. And also, I don't want to have to log into QuickBooks Online every time I use it. And I want it to be faster. So the solution to all of this was to make something a little bit more accessible, something you could install on a computer, something that would have an interface that's a little bit more similar to what people are used to in desktop. And that's exactly what we developed. It's available for everyone who uses QuickBooks Online, at least in the US. I haven't tried this with international versions, but I've tried it with every version of QBO. When it was first released, it was advanced only, but that changed close to a year ago. And there's been a lot of information out there that's available for people who use the accountant's version, and it's also available for desktop migrators. But in fact, regardless of the version you use, if you download it and you try to install it and log in, you're going to get in and you're going to be able to open up your company file with it. It's available now. And if you're using QBO Advanced, you can find it from the gear menu. It's just available right there. You can get the desktop app. You can download it outside of that, though, if you're using some other version of QBO or something other than Advanced. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the app and demo it for a little bit. I just want to show you very briefly in QuickBooks Online where that menu is. If you're using Advanced, you can get it right here from the gear under the Get Desktop app. And just to demonstrate how this works a little bit, I've actually got this installed on my computer. So I've got a little icon right here that I can double click and open up, just like any other program or app that you would run on your computer. And it looks like this whenever you open it up. So I've already got my information plugged in there. I'm just going to sign in really quick. One of the first things you'll see whenever you log in is it's going to ask you which company you want to log into. I'm going to go into my board games company, but you can switch back and forth between them very easily. You'll also possibly encounter the very first time you open this up a question of whether you are familiar with QuickBooks Desktop or more comfortable with the QuickBooks Online user interface. But you can switch back and forth between them at any time. Right now, I'm in the online view, so everything is pretty much going to look like I would normally expect with QuickBooks Online. We've got the regular nav bar over here, which, by the way, is available with Business View or Accountant View. So whichever one you like, you could use them this way. They've got the new button. But if I switch over to Desktop View, now I've got an interface that's a little bit closer to what I would expect in Pro, Premier, Enterprise Solutions. And in fact, that left nav no longer has a new button. You're going to access, things like you would normally access them in Pro, Premier, and Enterprise. You would click on one of the icons on the home page. You would use the menu options up here at the top. So these menu options reflect a lot of what you would expect from desktop. And these options on the left nav, like I said, they don't expand out like they do normally in QuickBooks Online. Instead, they're just options like you would use in desktop. So if I wanted to go to the income tracker, I click it and it brings me to, well, to my all sales window. Or if I click on customers, it takes me to my customer center, just like it would in Pro, Premier, and Enterprise. Now, what's interesting about this is that you can also add other shortcuts. So, and this is something that's available in desktop as well. You can actually navigate to a feature and you can choose for it to appear then on your shortcuts bar. So if I, for instance, wanted deposits to appear over here, I could open up the deposits window and then click add shortcut. And essentially, this works very similar to like bookmarking a web page or favoriting a web page, right? So you have to go to it first. And then I just type in deposits. Done. All right. And then, oh, is it not? Oh, hold on. I actually had this problem earlier today and I thought that I wouldn't run into it, but I have to refresh it really quick. Go. Just had to refresh my screen. There we go. So now I've got this deposit shortcut. If I click it, it'll take me to that deposits window so I can have access to it. Now, one thing you might notice pretty much right away is as soon as I open up that transaction, things are working a little bit differently from how they do in the browser. The transaction doesn't take up the entire screen like it does in the browser version. I still have that left nav. So if I wanted to go to something different, like I wanted to go over to customers, I don't have to go back and forth between different screens. I don't have to close the transaction. I could just go to different places. Also, similar to how we use desktop, if I wanted to open up a transaction like I have here, and I also wanted to cross-reference something like on a report or look up a customer's record, I can right-click one of these options and I can open whatever it is that I wanted to see in a new tab or a window. So in this case, I want to look up maybe my customers' balances or previous transactions in this other tab. Well, now I can look up Amy Marx's info over here. I can switch back over to my invoice. I can put in her details and start filling out that invoice. Now, this is, of course, something that we're probably familiar with from the browser version, because if you log into QBO, you can use the tabs in your browser to do the same thing. But this takes it to the next level, because right now you'll notice that I'm logged into Revolt's board games. So I've got this company open. If I wanted to switch to one of my other companies, though, I could say open a new window. Now I have two windows open. I'm logged into this company over here. And in this other window, I can log over into my other company, which is Build'em. So now I can work in Build'em over here. I can work in my board game company over there. I can switch back and forth. And I've got both of those windows open and available for me down here. Now, you might get a whole bunch of windows open, a whole bunch of different tabs, might become a little bit challenging to navigate. In desktop, they solve this by having a Windows menu up here at the top, so you can switch back and forth between the different things they have open. We have something similar in the desktop app. Up at the top right, there's a little button right up here. If we click that, gives me access to the other windows and the other tabs, so I can switch back and forth between the different things that I'm working on. So if I have a whole bunch of different companies open, I can see the names of all of them. So I want to switch over to Build'em. I'll just click that. It opens up right over here. And in this other company, I could switch over to Revolt's board games. And now I'm in this other company. You could also potentially have different companies open in different tabs. So like in this other tab that I have open right here, I could always switch over to Build'em in this one. I just like to keep them in separate windows because it's pretty easy for me to open up a tab in one company and a tab in another, and then like get them mixed up and maybe enter a transaction in the wrong company. So like separating them into different windows, but it's up to you and however you want to use it. So essentially we're trying to replicate a lot of the experiences that people are used to from desktop. But again, if you're happy with QBO and you're used to using it the way that it's normally used in the browser, just click right there and you can switch over to the QBO viewed. So you get the best of both worlds if you use this desktop app. And in my experience, loading these screens, navigating around has been, for me at least, a lot faster than just using the regular web browser. And I kind of like this desktop view because I get to have a transaction open on the right and still I get my left nav, which is pretty cool. So I am going to close this and this. Oh, everything is very dark. And I think we have a couple of minutes for questions. And I'm going to put links in chat in a bit to download the app if needed. I think I've also put links to where to download it in the FAQ page. I don't know if that's being distributed to people, but if it is, you can also find links to them there.
Yes, FAQ should be being distributed. Yes, that's the #1 question. What's the Windows app link and what's the Mac app link? So,
great. I'm glad people are excited to download it. If they're asking for the link, that means that they want to get it.
Exactly. So I did see a couple folks ask some similar questions, but can we just kind of clarify, just really quickly re-clarify, what would be the benefit of using the desktop application for QuickBooks Online if someone is using QBO?
Sure. Well, in my opinion, the biggest benefit for me, at least, has been speed. I have been able to, move between screens a lot faster through this app than I would in my browser. Now, your mileage may vary. It could be that it moves at the same speed for you, but I like the app a lot better. And like I showed, I like having access to the left nav and other user interface elements while I'm entering a transaction. I think it's a lot easier for me. And if you use it through the browser, it takes up the entire window whenever you're entering an invoice or an expense or something like that. So I just like that a lot better. But I'm a little bit old-fashioned. I've been using QuickBooks for a long time now, so I got used to Pro, Premier, and Enterprise a long time ago. So
you and a lot of other people, I promise.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I would 100% agree with you, right? If you see the benefit in having a more desktop feel to kind of get that transition a little bit better from a desktop to an online product, I also agree that having the desktop app makes it super helpful. So I don't know if you know the answer to this question, and we might have to do some research, but do you know, is there a limit to the amount of companies you can have open in the app? Or do you know?
I don't know offhand. I haven't hit it. I've had 7 or 8 different companies open at the same time, so quite a lot.
Yeah.
But I imagine that limitation would probably be more about memory and just your own computer's hardware and having all those different windows open than it would anything else.
Yeah, my best thing to say is like, I haven't run into any issues either. I think I had like similar, like maybe a dozen, and it was fine. But heck, if you have more than that, try it, like see what happens. And if your computer can handle it, I'd say awesome.
Yeah, you're not going to break it with or at least not through normal use that I've seen. So
yes, 100% agree. So it's just a preference for you guys. So if you guys have been around and know me, then you'll know that I always like to say optional, not required. The things that we're showing you today are just options to help you be more efficient, be better, however you guys want to look at that. There was also some questions around, the age-old question, is this available in Canada?
that's a great question, and one that I don't know the answer to, because I've tested it with the US version. I haven't tested it with the Canadian version. I would assume yes, but I haven't tried it.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's something I don't know the answer to that question either. So to be answered later.
Yeah, I can go and try to create a Canadian company file and use it, and see if I can follow up with them in chat in the next like couple of minutes.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Just a few more before we move on to our last speaker. And offline capability with the app that's not um,
No.
gonna be feasible, or is it?
You still have to have an internet connection to use it.
Okay, that I thought so. So since online still requires internet, you got to have internet to use the app.
Correct.
Awesome. Jason from the QuickBooks team. I didn't even put two and two together until you said that. So it was a pleasure to actually meet you, put a face to the name. Thank you so much for all of your time today. The demo was awesome. Loved it. Hopefully folks will start to use it even more. So thank you again for coming today. Appreciate it.
Happy to be here. Thanks.
Awesome. All right. I believe we've got our last speaker who's going to join us today, and that's Nikki, who's going to talk about QuickBooks checking.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we sure can.
All right, excellent. Well, hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Nikki, here to talk about QuickBooks checking and three really exciting releases that have come out in the last few weeks and months that are, purpose-built to help our accountant partners and our customers together. So yes, this is me. I'm on the QuickBooks checking team. Been into it about 3 years. As just a quick recap, QuickBooks checking is the business checking bank account built into QuickBooks. So if that's not something you're familiar with, highly recommend just quickly Googling it or noting down for later to learn a little bit more about the checking account overall. It's a really great offering. We have hundreds of thousands of QuickBooks users who are now our banking customers, and it's only growing in popularity. And the richness of features and the special sauce that connects the bank to our accounting systems, and of course, the rest of our ecosystem offerings like payments and payroll. These things all go together and work better together than with other third-party offerings. So we'll do our quick poll. How often are your customers uploading their business expense receipts to QuickBooks? We've definitely learned and I've learned through many years at multiple companies working with a similar audience that receipt management and receipt uploading can be a difficult task for business owners, and one that accountant partners often really encourage, but tend to know about. It's very interesting to see the responses here.
Or how about here's my receipts in a shoebox for the whole year. Have fun.
Exactly.
Nobody
exactly.
wants.
I thank you for coloring the example, Leah, because that's definitely one that we've heard about and seen, and that is exactly what we're trying to resolve with one of the features I'll discuss.
I have a friend who's a small business owner who did that to his accountant, and I showed him the receipt capture feature, and I was like, "Don't do that to him. That's so mean." Make sure you guys answer that poll question if you want to get your CPE. This is the last and final one of the session, and we'll share our results here. Shockingly enough, we're kind of across the board, but never does take the cake at 31%.
Yeah, great to see. Definitely, backs up what we've understood to date. So that's going to be the last one I'll show you. So we're going to take a quick step back before we get back to receipts. I'll skip over this one, but what we've been learning is that accountants want their clients, QBO and banks, to have a stronger connection to reduce manual uploads and extra steps, and that is really the problem space we've been focused on. So first, going to talk a little bit about attaching invoices. It's actually sort of attaching invoices and check deposits together. I'm just going to quickly switch over to another tab here and play a quick demo. So what you're going to see in this demo is a customer using the QuickBooks checking product through the QBM QuickBooks mobile app. And they are depositing a check through the app. And then they actually associate that check with the invoice that it's paying. So let's watch, and then I'll speak a little bit more on it. So here you can see they're going through the check deposit flow. There it is, taking a quick photo of the front. And then a quick photo of the signature on the back. And showing this, video in full because we know that a lot of folks still aren't aware of this feature. We see a lot of customer, feedback saying, "Hey, I really need to be able to deposit checks." And we love that feedback because we can quickly respond to them and say, "Hey, no problem, it's right in your app." But we don't love the feedback because it means we haven't done a great job of getting the word out. And that's where we really appreciate your partnership, making sure that your clients know that these features exist and are helpful for both their paper trail and also your accounting practices. So here you can see the list of invoices that this customer has created in QuickBooks. And here you can see they've just associated that invoice with the deposited check. I'll go back to that screen for a moment. Right? You initially see that when the check is deposited, you can attach an invoice. And then you're able to see the list of all invoices. And then you can actually see that association, which then flows through to the bank feed. I'm going to now go to another video. And this is now showing where you can see those check images in the bank feed. Another primary piece of feedback that we got when we ran research with many accountants like yourselves was, why can't I see the check images that are deposited through QuickBooks Checking in the bank feed? That seems like something that you should absolutely have, and now we do. So you can see here, there's an attachments column in the feed, and you can see there's an attachment to this expense. And there are the check images. So the next time you're confused about a certain expense and need to look at a customer's check, there's no need to leave QBOA. There's no need to ask your clients any additional questions. It will all be there, at least for the first pass of review. All right, awesome. And now we are on to the third feature, the receipt capture and receipt management feature. This is one that we're super excited about. This just started or just released on Monday. So this is very fresh. And the experience is, whenever a customer uses their QuickBooks Checking debit card to make a purchase, this notification is automatically triggered. Now, I should note that in order for this to work, the customer has to have the QuickBooks mobile app installed. So this is another great reason to encourage clients to install that QuickBooks mobile app so that they can help you, right? So I go to the store, swipe my card, I immediately, like literally instantly, get a ping. Hey, snap a photo of the receipt to add it to the transaction. And once they swipe or engage with that notification, it opens up a capture experience. And I'm not going to show you a video, just screenshots here, where they're prompted to snap a photo of the receipt, use that, and the receipt is then added to QuickBooks Mobile and to QuickBooks. And they then have the ability to associate that receipt with the transaction. And I don't have that flow here. That flows exist for a long time. This is an existing experience that customers already have. This has nothing to do with checking what I'm showing you on the screen now. But what we're doing is prompting customers, checking customers to take action. And the goal here is to get to a point where all of our accountant partners are encouraging their clients to use the debit card as much as possible, because when they use the debit card, they upload their receipts. And we've seen really strong uptick. Like I mentioned, this just launched on Monday, and we've seen a huge increase in receipts that are being captured and uploaded to the books, especially for those over $75 as required by IRS rules, as far as I understand, but also for many other smaller transactions as well. Just like becomes more of a habit to capture receipts, and they don't end up with the shoebox example that Leah mentioned. And that is the end of the presentation. I haven't read the Q&A at all, but ready to take questions and have a conversation about everything I've just shared.
That's totally great, Nikki. Thank you so much for your demo. A lot of great stuff coming to QuickBooks Checking, and we only have a few more minutes, so don't stress. You don't have to answer all 600 open questions. Just kidding. But there was just a couple things I wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page. So I know that Bank Feeds in Online offers some of these features already. So what would be the benefit of having QuickBooks Checking? So let's say, for example, check images, right? What's the difference between that versus what's already available in Bank Feeds?
So I guess what's happened now is that checks deposited through QuickBooks Checking will now be there where they weren't in the past.
Yeah, so they'll have access to that information. And if I'm not mistaken, not all of our banks that are connected to QBO support check images currently. So that's another big benefit, I would say.
Agreed, exactly. It's all about, if you use QuickBooks Checking, if your clients use QuickBooks Checking, you should know that all of the information that comes through checking will be available to you via QBOA.
Yeah. I think for now, one more final question. I know you guys had a ton of other questions, and we'd be more than happy to get you guys the information with our FAQs and all that good stuff. But age-old question, is this US only, or is this also offered in like Canada?
Yep, sorry. So that we should be clear. I should have been clear up front. QuickBooks Checking is US only. So all of these features are attached to that. I'm really quickly trying to scroll through some of these questions, and I'd love to answer a couple of them really quickly. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So there's some confusion about, can I use these with other banks? The answer is no, right? These are features of the QuickBooks Checking app, whether in QBO Online, on like logged in through the laptop, or on the app itself. So, does check image work with all banks? Can I use receipt capture for Chase? No, right? Like we only have control over like our product, and that's why it's one of a major benefit, we hope. Tanya asked, is the QBO app different from the QB Checking app? No, the checking is available in the QBO app, QuickBooks Mobile. There's not a separate app for it. And I'm just quickly scanning through lots of great questions. I'll try to chat with the team to see if we can answer these directly for folks, or folks can feel free to reach out to me directly anytime for questions like this. Do you take a picture with your phone app, or is there a special scanner type to take the picture of the check image? Great question. It's directly through the phone camera. There's nothing else that you need to do. Is there a setting to, in order to get the copy of the check through banking? Great question. We'll have to answer that later. So I'll hand over the share. And yeah, thanks again. Really great to chat with everyone, and hope folks are feeling excited about it.
Thank you so much, Nikki. We really appreciate all of your time and effort today. And we are done for today. Thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate it. I know it's been a couple months for me. I wasn't here in March, and then we had our break in April. So hopefully you guys are refreshed to take all this knowledge information in. For additional resources or information, please feel free to check out our training. We have our qbtrainingevents.com website. You can access the boot camp. You can access other options that are available for you to sign up, all good things. Firmofthefuture.com, a great blog, allows you to get things like the recertification information, and even information about the $5,000 Airbnb voucher that's going to be drawn, and all that good stuff. And if you guys are wondering about, hey, how do we take your feedback and what do you do with it? If you're interested in learning more about that, please take a look at the Your Feedback in Action. And it talks a little bit about what we're doing in that regard. Again, thank you guys so much all for being here today for the 60 minutes. We appreciate you, and we will see you guys next month.